Hey friend, welcome to the Halfway to Dead podcast. I'm your host, Jen Lovell. Listen, you and I have reached that age where we are done with the bullshit. We know that midlife is our chance to flip the script and experience life on our own terms. It's time to reconnect with our higher selves and reclaim our inner peace. Are you ready with an open heart and an open mind? Awesome, you're in the right place. Hop in and ride shotgun with me on this midlife spiritual journey. Hey guys, Jen here. Welcome back. Thanks for listening. I don't know if I've told you guys that lately, but I really appreciate it. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been doing a lot more on my social media platforms. I've been doing this Jen's brain thing, sharing all the crazy shit that goes through my head sometimes. So if you are a social media person and you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, I would love if you give me a little follow, like, share, whatever you feel like doing. Or don't, right? You're in control of your own life. We're having a little story time with Joe today. Remember Joe Figueras? She's sharing the story of Brandon Mitchner. And we get to hear this from the perspective of Joe, who was the psychic that Brandon came through with messages from the other side for Brandon's sweet, sweet mom, Shirley, his best friend, Jason, and also with a message I think that was meant for all of us. This precious young man is a wise, wise old soul, and he has some stuff to share. So I'm excited to get into this story with you guys because I'm just going to be honest. If you're a true crime fan, this will be for you because things are not adding up in this story. Okay. Things went down, I think, probably much differently than the police reports reveal. And then after that, Joe shares some of the new things she's got going on. I share a little bit about a reading a family member of mine had with her. I also scored a coupon code for you guys. So if you want a reading with Joe, if you've been waiting and thinking about it, now's the time. I'll drop it in the show notes and you're going to get 10% off. Oh, and we forgot to mention it in the episode, but she has this really cool astrology class coming up. It's a 4-week thing. It's called Astro Girly Wannabe. This is something you can take so that you can be a part of these weird astrology conversations. You're going to know more than your just plain old sign. You're going to figure out your sun, your moon, your rising sun. You're going to find out all these damn planets are doing, right? When you hear people saying, shit, I think Mercury's in retrograde. We don't know what they're talking about, do we? We're going to be able to participate in these conversations a little bit better and learn a little bit more about ourselves. I think I'm going to sign up for it. So if you guys want to sign up with me for the Astro Girly Wannabe, I'm going to put that link in the show notes too. Okay, let's get in there and hear this beautiful story of Brandon Mitchner. You guys, guess who's back? Joe's back. You guys know Joe. If you haven't listened to her other episodes, go back and listen to them. She does all the things, and she's been a really good mentor to me too. Today we're having a little story time with Joe because she has this amazing story that she wants to share with the world. So you guys, his name's Brandon Mitchner, and I'm going to just let Joe kind of take it away and tell us about her experience with this story. And then when I have questions, Jen will just bump in with them.
Yes. Okay. Hi. Thank you. I'm so excited to be back. I love being on your podcast. I've been carrying this story around in my heart for several years. And I've just decided finally, because I just joined Substack, and I'm like, I'm going to tell the story of Brandon. It's the story of Brandon Mitchner. Like Jen said, he's a vibrant young man, his whole life ahead of him. He was 22 years old. He just got an associate's degree in marketing, and he was a young entrepreneur who was building an online clothing business. All right. Now, this all took place in Lansing, Michigan. That's not my hometown, but I'm from Michigan, and Lansing is where I've spent the majority of my life. It was June 28th, 2014, when Brandon was out drinking one night with his friends. They had a party bus, and according to security footage, Brandon and his business partner can be seen leaving the party bus and walking toward the river on South Street. But seconds later, his partner was seen walking away. So Brandon Mitchner was found the next day in the Grand River. He had drowned, and the police reported it a drowning. While it was ruled a drowning, the family feels that like something more sinister has occurred. And honestly, if you dive into this, his death leaves behind way more questions than answers. And it's a part of a local unsolved death, right? Well, why I'm bringing this story to you is because I have a unique perspective that I am the psychic who is unexpectedly contacted by Brandon and asked to deliver messages to the people that he loved. Okay.
Ooh, and this is unexpected for you, right? You weren't trying to channel Brandon through. No.
Nope.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Yep. Tell us how he came.
No. And so it's like, okay, the synchronicities are crazy. All right. So here's the deal. One day I was in my studio and I am an intuitive development instructor and I was working with a student and we're going to call her Marianne. And we're sitting there and I'm taking her through the program. And all of a sudden I feel this energy to the right of me and I hear the word, or I just felt this energy and I look over and I'm like, how did you get in here? Because usually during spirit communication, my guides are very, very strict. And I didn't say that to him, but I was like, hi, how can I help you? And he's like, I have a message for Jason. And I was like, I don't know a Jason. So, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of something. Be gone. And I was totally dismissive.
Right now, Brandon. Yeah.
Yes. And then I forgot about it, right? And I should have said, oh, I don't have time right now. I'm in the middle of something. We'll come back to it. But Brandon was very, very persistent. So the following Monday, I have a session with a new client named Jessica. Okay. And when I greeted her, she let me know that she was Marianne's mother. Remember, Marianne was the person that I had last week.
Yes. Okay.
And so Jessica told me, she says, I have this great story for you. And she's like, Marianne had told her the story about how Brandon had shown up. And I said, I don't know who you are, who Jason is, bro. And Jessica was telling her receptionist, she's a hairstylist. So she's telling her receptionist that her daughter was going through, somebody helping her through intuitive development, and this cool thing happened. And the receptionist turned, I won't say ghost white, but she was like, oh my God, what? I know who you're talking about. I'm not kidding you. Jason was the receptionist's ex-boyfriend.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
Come on.
And so
we're not talking about in a town of 200 people here.
No, this is a big town, right? All right. I told Jessica to give my information to Mandy, the receptionist. And then if she could forward that information on to Jason, then, then Jason can reach out to me. And literally by the end of the night, because this was during the day, literally by the end of the night, he friended me on Facebook. And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, I have a message for you from Brandon. Are you open to it? And he's like, yes. Right. So he agreed to come to my studio, my office the next day. So the next day, there he is. There's this Jason that I didn't even know who's there to get a message from Brandon. And I had known of Brandon because I had my business in that neighborhood for several years. And because I'm a medium and the Grand River runs right through there, a lot of people take their lives in the Grand River. And so a lot of times spirits would come up and they would come up into my studio for messages or people that would come through or whatever. So I wasn't a stranger to spirits coming into my studio that had died in the Grand River.
Okay.
So there I was a week later and he is, hey, what's the message? And I'm sitting there telling him all of the things that Brandon wanted him to know. It wasn't his fault. Don't worry about it. They were out for his birthday and they were having a great time and go on, live your life. He had a new girlfriend and, I think there was a baby on the way or something like that. So, go live your life and stop feeling guilty about it.
So you're saying Brandon, he came back knowing Jason was there with you, or had he told you all this way back in the day, or, days ago?
Yeah, no. So Brandon showed up in my studio and he said, I have a message for this person. I believe it was synchronistic when Marianne was right there because Marianne was the connection to Jennifer, to Brandy, to
Absolutely.
Jason. Yes, okay. Right?
So the messages came through live while you were with Jason, or had he just already come back? Okay, I gotcha.
No. Yep. Yes, I was actually engaging in mediumship with Jason and Brandon.
Love it. Okay.
Yes. All right. So Jason got the message. Everything is great. He's going to move on with his life. Brandon's happy. All that's wonderful. Well, next thing I know, Brandon shows up in my world and he was like, it was like a week later and I'm like, hi, what are you doing? Following up? What? And he's like, I need you to give my mom a message. And I'm like, bro, listen, enough of this pro bono shit. Who's paying me?
Okay,
no, that's not true. That's not true. I don't charge for stuff like that at all. But I was like, I'm not going there. I'm not doing that again. I'm like, so if you can somehow get your mother to contact me, I have no problem giving her a message. Jen, I shit you not, and I have no idea how he did it, but literally within a couple days, Shirley Mitchner, his mother, reached out to me and said, I feel like I need to talk to you. You have a message for Brandon. Now, now I didn't know at the time how he did it, but this is how he did it. This is where it gets even crazier. So Marianne, right? My very first intuitive development student, her grandmother is best friends with Shirley Mitchner.
Which is Brandon's mother.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. At first I was thinking about Jason's mom, but no.
Brandon's mom.
All right. It's making sense.
So
okay,
I fully believe that Brandon chose me because Marianne was going to be in my studio that day. I was a medium. I could hear the message. Marianne would then tell Jennifer, who would then tell Brandy, but then also Marianne would tell her grandmother, who would tell Shirley.
Well, yep, because he's on the other side. He saw all the connections. He's like, this is my girl. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Brandon, good job. Okay.
So I agree. Shirley, come on and let's talk because there's a lot to talk about. All right. So now at this point, we get back into the true crime part of it because this is when it is so freaking fascinating. So to understand why his story continues to raise all these questions and why it's been ruled an accidental death, but everybody knows that reads it is like, no, it's important to understand the timeline of what happened that night. All right. So according to the Lansing Police Department reports, surveillance footage and statements that were provided by Brandon's business partner, Brandon had a business partner. Okay. And this business partner was with him when in the t-shirt business, and he was the one walking with him on camera when two people walked out of camera and then one person walked back in to view by himself that night.
Okay, wait. Yep. So we've got Brandon, his friend Jason.
Brandon and Jason was not even, it was Jason's birthday that night. So that's why Jason was in there.
So his guilt comes from he wasn't there.
Yeah. I mean, and his friend died, the night of his birthday party, and he should have been, yes, exactly. He had a lot of guilt.
So Brandon's walking along with the business partner.
So surveillance video caught Brandon and the business partner walking along the river, and then they go out of frame. And then seconds later or minutes later or whatever, the next video surveillance camera picks up just the partner. Brandon's nowhere to be found. Okay.
So now we have a kind of a time of when things started. Okay.
Yep. That's the timeline. The evening began when Brandon and his business partner and a bunch of other boys loaded the party bus, and they were going to spend the night visiting bars throughout downtown Lansing. So shortly after midnight, about 12:30, surveillance footage captured Brandon and his business partner walking down the dead-end street, and Brandon was slightly ahead of him. Moments later, both men walked out of the camera's view. Okay. And then according to the statement given by the business partner, he suddenly heard this loud thud near the edge of the sidewalk and believed Brandon had fallen down the steep embankment toward the river. He later stated that he thought Brandon may have been vomiting when he fell. Okay. Mm-hmm. What happened next is one of the moments that continues to raise all the questions. Like literally, this is the crux of it. Okay. 11 seconds after the two men disappeared from view, the business partner reappeared alone on camera, running toward a nearby gas station. Okay. According to reports, he left the area in a taxi without attempting to locate Brandon, check on his condition, or call emergency service. So the business partner heard the loud thud and then ran and then got into a taxi. Didn't call the cops. Didn't say, hey, my friend.
This isn't checking out.
It's not checking out.
This isn't checking out. All right, I won't wait for it because listen, if you're a buddy, you're looking for your friend, you're calling for help.
Right?
You're not run into a cab.
No.
Okay. All right. I mean, I like
it. If it's somebody that I love, I'm going down that hill. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like it was steep, but it wasn't, you could get down it on your belly.
You're calling in everybody you know. Yes. Okay.
Yep. The business partner went back to his home. He went to sleep.
Of course he did.
He eventually told the police that much of the night was a blur because he was drunk. Seriously, that's what he said. He said, I went to bed. I was drunk. I don't remember what happened.
He wasn't too drunk to run and get a cab.
Yep. He knew enough to get a cab, right?
Right.
When he woke up, he said he remembered that Brandon had fallen. And so he went back to South Street to look for him. Mm-hmm. Dude, why didn't you call him?
Yeah.
After checking the local hospitals and jails without finding Brandon, he then contacted the Lansing PD at noon to report him missing.
Had he been calling family, friends?
Nope.
Oh, hell no.
Nope.
I don't like
Nothing.
this.
None of that.
Stinks.
It
Uh-huh.
stinks.
It
Stinks
Okay.
like boiled eggs. And then sadly, 1 hour later, authorities located and recovered Brandon's body from the Grand River near a bridge.
Mhm.
Again, the official ruling was accidental drowning. However, Brandon's family is not having it. And his mom, Shirley, is the most tenacious, spirited, beautiful woman, but it's caused her a great deal of pain, this fight since all of this time, all this years. I think we're coming up on like his 10-year death or something.
There's no closure.
Yeah, she's struggling with like depression and stuff, but she's also done some really beautiful stuff that I'll talk about too.
Okay. All right.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about Shirley. This is when she was back in my studio and, she struggled deeply with his death. The Brandon was her baby. Oh, and anybody who's listening, just Google his name. He's the most beautiful boy, a big smile. He was just a pure light, just a beautiful, beautiful boy, a young man. And he had everything to live for. He was in college and he was a young entrepreneur and he was kind. And even among his peers, he said, man, Brandon wasn't like us. Brandon was going somewhere.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So
And
how
so,
far was this drop?
So it says like a steep 30-foot drop, but there was some ridiculousness going on. One of the reasons, the first time I told Shirley, I said, bullshit, Shirley, was because the police photographed footprints on the bank of that river. And then when Shirley said, wait a minute, why would there be footprints down here? The police said, oh, it was a jogger. Jen, nobody is going to jog on the shore of a 30-foot drop.
Yeah, I want to jog. I want to climb down and back up. And also, that kind of a drop causes a thud or a splash. So, Mr. Friend, this is not a silent fall, if that's what we're calling it. No. Okay. All right. So Shirley has now come to you. And then what do we?
Shirley, so Shirley is struggling. And so my primary goal at that point was to give her some peace, give her some messages and all that stuff, right? Because Brandon's just like, basically he came through and he said, listen, she can't continue this. It's driving her into depression and it's exhausting her and she's filled with grief 24/7. And she really was. She was very, very sad.
He's loving on his mama from the other side. Yeah.
Yes, he was taking care of her. He really was.
Okay.
And over the years, there's always been a great deal of mystery surrounding his death. And over the years, there have been countless podcasts, so many podcasts, and independent investigators have explored this case, all of them arriving at the same conclusion. Something about the official story does not add up. I mean, every single one. But we also have to, as responsible podcasters, have to admit that there may not have been much more than the authorities could have done. I do understand that the business partner was questioned several times and, of course, told a story and, there was no proof.
Innocent till proven guilty. And you have concrete proof to take this to court. I get that. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The thing too is that Shirley had an autopsy done and the investigators dismissed the autopsy, but Brandon did not have water in his lungs.
Oh, hell no, he didn't. He didn't drown.
He did not drown. Nope. He did not drown. I think he was killed.
What was the cause of
drowning?
They put drown even with no water in the old lungs?
Yep. And she also said there were no marks on his body. There were no broken bones, no scratches, nothing. It was this beautiful boy face down in the water who was already dead.
No water in his lungs.
But no water in his lungs. He was
dead before he got in that water.
I believe so too.
Otherwise you take in some water when you're drowning. I would assume. I mean, listen, I don't. Do I fully know what I'm talking about? No, but doesn't that make sense, you guys? Okay.
And here's the other thing. Shirley told me that the business partner or Brandon had intended on severing their business ties because the business partner was taking 50% of the profits and putting in 0% of the work.
Sounds about right.
And he had actually talked to his mom and he's like, it's just not working out with this person. So there's something going on. Okay, now that's just like the stuff that Shirley has told me. But then there's this other video, and I just talked to her, I don't know, it was about a week ago, and I said, hey, fill me in on all the stuff I don't know about. Well, they met this other young man in the parking lot of a supermarket that was another one of his friends that was in that friend group, and he realized that he was being kept out of the loop because he said, well, this happened, and Shirley and, her husband and her other son who had been investigating this for years and years and years said, that's not what happened. And he said, yeah, it is what happened. And then she said, well, that's not what they told the cops. And the other guy's like, then they're lying. So there's all of these other things that
and these were guys that were a part of this party bus group.
Yeah. Yes. That's like the inner circle. Well, so that even raised even more questions, but then the inner circle people all stopped talking. All of a sudden, she said, nobody will talk to me. And she got, I'm not going to say an assistant DA, but an autopsy tech within the Lansing system. She told her all this stuff, and the autopsy tech is like, what? That doesn't make sense. Then after a couple of weeks of investigating, the autopsy tech stopped talking to Shirley too. So what I'm calling this whole thing around Brandon is a culture of silence is what's happening around here. It's a culture of silence.
And who's behind this? Somebody has to trigger that.
Yep.
Right? Like everyone doesn't go silent without being, I don't know, triggered to be silent. Okay.
So here's my theory as the intuitive. So Jason's dad used to work for one of the premier law firms in the city of Lansing. Now, even though Jason had nothing to do with it, it was his birthday. It was his birthday party. So all of a sudden, after I talked to him, Jason lawyered up. So I believe that there is a culture of silence here within the Lansing, whatever structure with buddies and bros, protecting bros and the children of bros to keep them out of trouble. It's your standard bullshit.
Jason's still friends with the ex-business partner?
No, it's my understanding that none of them were really friends with him because they all found him to be shady.
So did he come back through when you were talking to Shirley?
Yeah, a couple more times. So Shirley, because she's continued to connect with me over the years and she returns for additional, readings and stuff from Brandon. But I want to tell you all of the good that she's done because she really has, trying to find the truth about her baby's death has pushed her into like health issues and depression. She's also really kept that story alive, like literally. Because for Shirley, the biggest question has always been simple. If someone believes that another person may be in danger, why wouldn't they call for help? Why would you go to the gas station, call a cab, go home, pass out, and then say, hey, I think he might be, right? So she pushed for a duty to act law here in Lansing, and that Brandon's death became the catalyst for Shirley's advocacy for that law, duty to act law. So basically, that law did not pass. Current Michigan law protects people who voluntarily provide like emergency assistance, right? Like performing CPR, that sort of thing, through Good Samaritan protections.
Thing.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Right. But there's no general legal requirements for somebody to act or seek help on behalf of somebody else. So Shirley proposed legislation to address the gap by creating consequences for individuals who knowingly walked away and left someone to die, like the business partner did. So to do that, she shared Brandon's story before Michigan lawmakers and gave testimony before the Michigan Senate Judiciary Committee, just in an effort to put a human face on this, right? This is my boy, and this is, how it would have helped. And so the proposal did receive attention, and it sparked a conversation among lawmakers, but it was not passed, unfortunately. So at this point, the mission has always been about changing that law. One thing she did accomplish was to rally to get like a fence, like a rail, that they have along the bridges, put up at that spot so other people, would at least as a deterrent.
Least we can do.
It's the least. Right. It's the least we can do. More than anything, then Brandon just wants his mom to find peace. He really, really loves her. He wants her to continue to do the work that's become important to her, advocating for other victims and pushing for change and all that. But he wants her to keep giving people hope, but he also wants her to not let this, break her heart.
Yes, and control her life.
Yep. All right. So one of the most profound moments that I had with Brandon happened a couple years later because it would keep coming up. Again, Shirley would send me videos and podcast episodes over the years of people who had picked up the story and stuff. You know, we kept in touch. And so she had sent me something and I was alone in my office and I sensed him and I was like, Brandon, I was like, listen, why won't you just tell me what happened? Like literally, because I asked him a couple times, like, who did this, bro? Who did this? Because I know who did it. We all quote unquote know, but you know, whatever.
He either like did it or at least was compliant and not helping at the very least.
At the very least, right?
Okay.
And then there's also some testimony or some witness accounts or whatever that there was actually another person there and that other person, you know, so it gets convoluted, right?
Okay.
And for years, whenever that subject came up, you know, Brandon remained frustratingly vague. His mother wanted answers. Everybody wanted answers. I wanted answers. And then this is just what he gave me. This is the only thing he's ever given me. And he said, justice is a human construct.
I mean, that's a big statement. If you really start diving into that concept.
Yeah. I've repeated those words countless times since then because they literally stopped me in my tracks. And I repeat that phrase to any of my clients, you know, my mediumship clients who want answers, not necessarily about murder, but other things that, you know, and I just say justice is a human construct.
We need people to pay for what they did, right? Like we need courts, we need justice, we need something. But it sounds like on the other side, they don't really care as much.
No, he literally did not care. And it was one of the most clear, energetic answers as well as verbal too, you know. And from that moment on, I never asked him again what exactly happened. Other people, they've encouraged me to press for answers and he's just like, you know, I don't care. I guess that the lesson that I have, you know, carried with me from all of this is that justice is a human construct, really, you know. So Ghost, right? Patrick Swayze's business partner. And so again, I'm writing this, I've written this article for my Substack and, you know, to see where I can get that. And I leave my readers in the article with the vision of the business partner being clawed, you know, down into hell. And Patrick Swayze, Sam in the movie just stands there looking at him like, justice served.
Yep. Done and done. Okay. But let's think about it like this, because we've had conversations about this before, Joe, about hell and punishment and all this stuff, whether you're an asshole or not. So what if part of this happening was part of the plan? Like, you know how we plan things before we come and some of things are really shitty that go down, right? And people die too young and get illnesses and all this. I wonder from the other side, if he knew this was the role he was playing in his past and others' past. Yes. Shirley, Jason, everybody. Like what they're learning in this lifetime is because of all of this.
Yep.
Right?
Yes. I completely agree.
Thinking from the other side, I don't care about justice. This happened. I care about everyone healing because this was the lesson they were supposed to learn. Like, let's heal. Let me just help these people heal. Right? It doesn't matter who did it because it might have been part of the plan, even with the asshole business partner.
Yep.
Right? I mean, think about it. This dude's it's like hell on earth to live with something like that. I have to imagine the guilt eating up inside of you has to be kind of like a lot. Right? I'm not trying to say.
No, I mean, it's, how could you?
You're already being tortured, man. Yeah.
Yep. I have heard through the years that the business partner is completely ambivalent. He's like, I don't care, bro. Right? He doesn't care. But I have sort of thought about this. What if this is Brandon's karma? You know, and again, he doesn't really get into that with me. He's more about the messages. Karma is not punitive. Karma is experiential. So what if in a past life, Brandon actually took the life of that business partner in some other way? Maybe they were warriors together and, you know, I don't know, old England or whatever.
Contracts going on here.
Yes, exactly. Or, I mean, there's thousands of different, you know, potential. What if this whole thing was a healing and karmic balancing for Shirley? What if it's a healing and karmic balancing for, we already said the business partner, for maybe Jason or, whatever. But, or for me, what if him contacting me was literally to show me the beauty and the power of synchronicities and mediumship?
There's so many lessons going on here.
Yeah.
This one incident has triggered this beautiful ripple, hasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, and if you're listening, I know someone drowning or being mysteriously killed or whatever doesn't sound like a beautiful thing, does it? No. But if we dig in a little bit, if we dig into it, because listen, Brandon clearly, guys, is fine right now, right?
He is
better than us. Okay. So not worried about Brandon. He's doing his thing, man. Oh, and it sounds like he's really enveloped Shirley in love and protection.
Yes. He loves his mama.
Yes. Because you know what, earlier when I said, oh, he's loving on his mama from the other side, I got tingles from head to toe.
Yes.
Like head to toe. And I'm getting them again right now as I say it.
Yes.
So this is like, I feel 100% about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that feels like real deal to me. And now he's teaching us through like what you're saying and what we're talking about, this quote that he said. What is it?
Yep. Justice is a human construct.
Justice is a human construct. Because that really gets us all thinking.
It sure does.
I feel like heck. Because I was thinking about even the difference between having closure and peace.
Yep.
Right? Like two totally different things. Closure doesn't necessarily mean peace, right? Like, no. Because sometimes we see someone go to jail for their crime, but we don't feel at peace yet, right? No, that's a whole different path of healing, and that's a whole different job. Yeah. And that's not saying accountability doesn't matter, you guys.
No.
It matters. Yeah, it matters.
But it just doesn't matter in human form in the same way that it does, in spirit. In spirit, it's all love and all connection and all this. And there's just this greater, sort of path and purpose and all of that. I mean, the reason that we incarnate as souls is to experience life in the 3-dimensional, to experience duality, to be able to experience, dark, light, good, bad, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's the other thing. What if that could be a simulation where everybody gets together and says, hey, let's experience dark and light, good and bad. Let's experience a crime that never gets prosecuted, or there's a bajillion things that this
all
could
knowing
be.
On the other side, all knowing when we're in spirit form, in the light and Creator's love, knowing it's not a one and done thing. It's like a blip in time, these experiences. Right? Like, dude, Brandon's probably doing something really cool already, right?
Yes.
Come on, guys. Yeah. So that's really cool. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this, Joe. What is new in Joe's world?
So there's a couple things going on. The first thing is that I've started this new intuitive development membership. It's a group and you meet twice a month and everybody has a different role. You're either a reader, you're a sitter, or you are an observer. And when you have those 3 roles that you rotate through, you get all 3 aspects of intuitive development. And it's for people who are ready to develop into the next level. Okay. So that's called the Intuition Lab. It's like $29 a month. It's all done virtually and it's a beautiful thing. So please go to my website and look that up and get all the details and please join.
Okay. Someone listening right now is at the point in their spiritual journey and they're in that phase where they're like, I want to start exploring my gifts.
Yes.
I want to start connecting and see where it takes them. All right. This is what this is for. And it's virtual.
It's virtual. You get the benefit of my coaching, which if you were to coach with me one-on-one, it'd be a minimum of $2,500. I will coach you and it's group coaching and it's community and you get handouts and exercises and I do moon ceremonies. It's literally going to be my new community and I'm just going to nurture the people that are there through intuitive development.
Sometimes you're going to be reading to other people in the group. Sometimes you're going to be read and sometimes you're just going to watch it go down.
Yes. And that helps other people develop their abilities if they get to read people and then get feedback on how they read and then get validation on what came through for them. And if everybody does it, just everybody helps each other grow. And I'm just there to guide and coach.
Okay. And does it weave in your tetralogy stuff?
Then the next thing that I'm doing and this is new. It's called Intuition Lab Coaching Certification. So you know how I am an intuitive development coach. I am now certifying other coaches to be intuitive development coaching, but it's a little bit different. I'm not going to teach you how to teach psychic development. What I'm going to do is I'm taking my program that I've been building for a couple years, which takes somatics, human design, puts that together to identify how your intuition moves through your body. Then you have to address the nervous system, repatterning, all of that stuff in order for your gut, your intuition to move cleanly through your nervous system. Because if it doesn't, you're not going to be able to hold.
Yes, you got to regulate your nervous system.
You have to regulate it, and you're not going to trust what comes through if your nervous system isn't regulated and healthy. So there's an element of that. And then it moves into your clairs. And so it's sort of like this new modern concept that's science-based of intuitive development. The old school stuff isn't working for people anymore. The intuitives that are now coming up are starseeds, and they are already psychic. They need technique and they need management of those techniques. And that's what they need. They don't need to learn how to.
These are the two different new programs so far.
Those are the two new programs. Yep. Coaching certification for coaches that already have successful programs, but they want to integrate intuition, recognition, and self-trust into their program. It's not psychic development. I'm going to teach you how to teach people how to trust themselves through their intuition. So it's
for coaches that want to expand their coaching. Okay. So you have those two things. Are you doing readings anymore?
Yeah, readings are still on my website. I think there's like 2 or 3 you can choose from. I'm never going to get rid of those, but mostly people that book those are people that have been with me for years or are hearing about me through your podcast or whatever.
Listen, let me tell you guys this little story. I gifted some readings with Joe quite a while back, and people I don't know. Some of my people are like, didn't get it. Anyway, I've been on them. So ordered with my son. So my son finally did his reading with Joe. And it was so good, you guys. He felt very validated in things he already felt in his body. Okay. It wasn't like, he opened this whole new world to him, but because he learned about how he was made, how he was meant to move forward in this world, where maybe he was getting off path. Right?
Yes.
How to get back on it, all this stuff. So it felt really validating for him, I'll just say. I mean, I'm not going to share all his shit because I don't even know it all. I'm telling you this from his perspective because he shared this with me, not Joe. Okay. So he felt energized to do some new things, move forward, which is what we're all doing on these spiritual awakening paths, right? It's a really good guidance point. Just like your class in intuition. If you're at that point, you sign up, you do the thing, and it doesn't sound like it's going to cost you an arm and a leg with Joe either.
Not for the Intuition Lab. The coaching is the certification. It's
a certification.
That's a good price.
If you're wanting to just explore your intuition, because it sounds like you could do that whole thing, get into it, way down the road. Maybe you want to do coaching. Right? Because
yes.
For me, I don't really want to be coached by someone who hasn't done it for very long. I don't know. Like, you can't jump into coaching. That's a little spiritual bypassing bullshit. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You can't coach people that haven't been coached and been through some shit and learned how to handle their own intuition first.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. A little experience under your belt is my thought. I don't know. I know there's coaches popping up everywhere. That's just my opinion, you guys.
They are everywhere and, they're needed, but you want to make sure that you're getting experienced coaches who know what they're talking about versus a Udemy certification, which takes 3 clicks and there you go.
Yeah. Click, pay the fee. I'll send you a certificate. No, none of that business, you guys. Don't trust those people. God, let me tell you this too. I screen a lot of people before they come on this show. And usually I'll spend my own hard-earned money. I don't want them giving me anything free because I don't want to feel like I got to have them on. Right. I will book something with someone. I'll check it out. Right? Yes. See if it's for my people or not. And I will say this. I had one recently. It was a no. And I paid a fortune. She had this smorgasbord of things she did. She did all the things, which was a red flag to me at the beginning. Like what? First of 1 hour, she spent 20 minutes chit-chatting. Most of what she did was give me tips on supplements and tips on how I should eat. Just weird stuff. Right? Anyway, I got a bad vibe from her. So you guys aren't going to be hearing from her. And also when someone's charging a huge price tag, I'm not going to recommend that person have people waste their money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tight right now, you guys. I get it. Yep. We're paying a lot for gas and milk and everything else. I'm not going to send anybody It's a little scammer for hundreds, plural, of dollars. I'm just not.
Well, that's good that you do that. It literally is, right? Because then you're keeping the integrity of, the people that you're working with and that sort of thing.
No, I'm not doing this to go buy a private jet, you guys. Like, this means something to me. And so I'm not going to do that to my friend. I don't even know how I got on that. That popped in my head. I was going to ask you one more thing. If Brandon came through again, do you think he would ever just sit and dig more into that line? Just to that concept on the other side? Would he do that, you think?
I could, the next time that I'm like and I call it in the energy of it, I will ask him if he will expand on it. He comes through very wise. It's interesting because he doesn't come through as a young soul. He comes through as a wise soul, as a serious soul. He just wants everybody to be happy. And he says, don't worry about justice. It'll take care of itself. So yeah.
Because guess what? They don't give a shit. He already told us that.
But I mean, here's how it comes through. And it's not just his statements. It's really any profound statement. And check this out within yourself too, because you yourself are intuitive. You receive these messages and channels. And for me, what happens is when I hear something profound from spirit, I'm hearing their words, but I'm also receiving a shit ton of supportive data, quote unquote, right? It's like a data dump. So it's like I get the broader explanation of those words at the same time. And so I guess I've never dug deeper into it because what he said is basically that in spirit, we don't give a shit about justice. Justice isn't a thing. Justice is not something that is a priority or even considered. There is no, revenge. There is no anything like that. No justice. There's no, it's just a human thing.
And literally during one of my big journeys, when I first went, a lot that came through for me was spirit saying, we don't care about almost any of the things you guys do.
They really don't.
Like, literally,
this is boring.
Through. My girl Athena kept throwing me through, and like her big line to me all the time, because she was pretty fierce with me, but her big line to me all the time was like, we don't give a shit. Why? Stop. No, really. She was just like, stop. Why are you spending so much energy on all this stuff? We don't fucking care.
No.
Like, stop it. You guys care about all these things, and you dig in so deep to some of the stupidest things, which they get because we're human and that's part of our process. But they're like, stop it. We don't give a shit.
They don't care about the thing. What they care about is the fact that we learn that the thing isn't important. And again, there we are with duality. The only way for us to learn that the thing isn't important is to experience the thing and then incarnate come to that conclusion that, oh my God, this is not important. I think that's why that resonates with your listeners because, after 50, we don't give a shit about all of the shit that we gave a shit about in our 20s and our 30s. We don't care. It's not even important. We know it's not important. We don't care.
I don't give a shit. It's like, listen, we're closer to the other side than birth. So let's just
yes, halfway to dead.
Yeah, we're going to finish strong, like I always say. All right. You guys, I can't tell them to go buy the book yet because it's not there.
Follow me on Substack. It's free. You get all of my newsletters and my articles all sent to your inbox. And I talk about all things, numerology, astrology, woo, this and that. And Substack, it's just Joe Figueras.
All right. Thank you. Have a good, just everything. Have a good life. And then
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh, what a fun conversation. It's always a good time on this podcast.
Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. The legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just two friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.